I started sailing fins over 25 years. I don't know exactly the year, but my first boat, I got some boats just for one championship. But my first boat, I bought it in 98, and it was an old boat. It was a Vanguard boat still. And you didn't have this new, the wing masts were just coming. And afterwards, I bought Lemier from the father of Jorge Zarif, Jorge Zarif Neto. His father was also an Olympic fin sailor, and he imported some boats. He was really trying to raise the level of the class by that time, and I bought a Lemier from Jorge, the father. And then I kept this boat for over 10 years, I think, and then I changed to a Devotee that I bought this time from Jorge, the son, our world champion in 2013, our Olympic sailor. He was the one that, due to his Olympic campaign, he was promoting a lot the class here in Brazil for a while, due to the imports of masts, sails, and boats. So I think 90% of the class in Brazil owns a boat that has someday belonged to Jorge Zarif, either the father or the son. You know, the Zarif family is very important to us here in Brazil. I have sailed a lot stars as a crew during this time, and it was a good opportunity to balance both sailing techniques. And I can tell you that I have sailed almost all over the places in Brazil. And recently, since 2018, I have started to sail also in Europe, in the Masters and other championships. And also the Brazilian fleet has started to attend the World Masters. In the first one where we had a big participation of Brazilian sailors was in Torboli in 2016. I'm not quite sure, I wasn't there, but I know that we had more than 5 or 6 Brazilian sailors. And since then, Brazilian sailors are attending almost all championships, the big championships in Europe. And Finn has always been a pleasure to sail with in terms of technical level. We always had very good sailors here in Brazil, just Jorge Zarif, for example. Other Olympic sailors made very big and huge campaigns. Bruno Prada, who is now I think 5-time or 6-time star world champion, and he has 2 medals, Olympic medals with Robertshire. He sailed a lot at the fin class, and he also raised the level a lot. Now we are missing the Olympic sailors. That's true. So the class in Brazil is composed mostly of master sailors. We have 2 young sailors that attend the championships, like our last 2 Brazilian champions. One of them is Pedro Truch, and the other one is Antonio Moreira. So the young guys are winning from the masters, but they are also helping us to maintain a high level here in Brazil. And fin sailing, always fun, always good friendship. People are very dedicated in terms of training. We train a lot in Ilhabela, where it's an idyllic place where I think it was the Fin Worlds 86 or 87, I don't remember exactly, took place. So we can say that we have a small fleet, but a very active fleet, and most important, lots of good friends and good memories, and we hope to continue like that for many, many years. Yes, I have inherited this position from Ricardo Santos, but he is rejoining me. We are just going to organize better the class. It was much concentrated in his hands, and it was a little bit time-consuming for him. and we decided we brought some democracy, not in terms that Ricardo was not a very democratic person, but we split functions, and I am still representing the class at international level and national level. But I have the support of different sailors. Each fleet, sorry, has its own manager, and we organize the championships. We coordinate the calendar, everything. But we have, like in Brasilia, where we have a very strong fleet, we have Leonardo Zeger, who is also a very nice guy and an active sailor. Here in Guarapiranga, we have Luis Rodrigues, who prefers to stay in Guarapiranga, despite of going sometimes to the sea. And he is very also an enthusiastic Finn sailor. And in Ilhabela, we have Robert Hitcher, who is also now presently the best ranked Brazilian sailor in the ranking. Nowadays, he has attended different championships in Europe, and sail very well. And so it means that in each fleet, and sorry, in Rio de Janeiro, we have Luis Mosqueira, who is also a very active Finn sailor. He also took part in different championships in Europe some years ago. In this case, we are making like this distribution of functions, and I am like the general organizer of a big team of sailors that are organizing the championships together. And Ricardo Santos is going to be my co-head here in terms of Finn class in Brazil. Yes, the distance between São Paulo and Brasilia, it's above 1,000 kilometers. And from São Paulo to Rio, 450. So we can quite move between those three fleets, but it's only on during the big championships, like the Brazilian Championship, the recent Southeast Championship. It was a success because we had sailors from Rio, from Brasilia, from Guarapiranga. All fleets were represented there. So people try always to take care of the logistics. It's not easy. I know that distances in Europe are also big, but we don't have the roads that you have in Europe. We don't have the infrastructure, the European infrastructure. We live in Latin America, and it's not that good. And it takes some energy on our side. But people, since who sails Finn really loves the class, we make this effort, right? I think that lots of expectations about Punta Ala, right? I have already registered and I have already made my reservations, early reservations, flights are booked. But this combination of Punta Ala and Aarhus and Cannes, I think you make really a triangle in terms of logistics. You go up and then you go down at the other direction to the west. But the timing, I think it's nice. And what I have heard also in Campione from the Dutch guys and from the British guys, saying that they will put their championships in the middle of the way. So you get out from Punta Ala on your way to Aarhus, and when you're going down, you find championships going up and going down. So in this aspect, I think it's going to be very, very nice, a very nice calendar. I'm only based on the last championship, the European Star Championship in Cannes, exactly at this time, they didn't have many luck, right? So the conditions were quite extreme some days, lack of wind some days. So, but this is the climate change we are all over feeling, and it's hard to predict. But I know that different Brazilians from different fleets are very interested in going to Punta Ala. To Aarhus, I have already heard some of them also interested. And Cannes, it's a period of time here in Brazil, end of October, that's lots of going on here in terms of business and other appointments. So I don't believe that in Cannes there will be many Brazilians. But in Punta Ala, for sure. And in Aarhus, I think that we will be present with a good fleet also. First time.
So
okay, I have already sailed different occasions in the Mediterranean Sea, but in Italy, it will be the first time. That's why expectations are high. And also the social programs and the tourist attractions, it's really, our wives are very engaged also to this championship, because there are lots of options for them. That glamping, that I learned this new world, this glamour with camping in that resort we have there. It's going to be fun. And I know that, I think it was 2011, Punta Ala already hosted Masters World Championship, and everybody says good things about that location. Let's hope. And always we have the Italian Bella Vita style, right? Of good drinks, good food, and the hospitality of the Italians. That's why we are all very animated with this championship. We have already 2 big events scheduled for next year. The first one will take place in Ilhabela, beginning of May. There we have the Labor Day national holiday, May the 1st. And we are going to take this holiday, a 4-day championship there in Ilhabela. And we are going to name, it's the first time we're organizing it under this name. It will be Brazilian Fin Master Cup. It's a master championship, but since we have those young guys taking part of it, we are going to open the pre-master category, but the championship will be sailed under the master rules, with the wind limit, with the free pumping only above 12 knots, and the wind limit not less than 6 knots, not above 20. And we are expecting a good presence, especially from the fleet in Brasilia. As I told you, we have a situation now in Rio. Unfortunately, there is this lack of engagement, but we hope there are good boats there, storage in Rio. And let's see if people get really animated once again. And in the middle of July, we'll have the national championship in Brasilia, our national capital, in the lake, in Paranoá Lake. July is a month that there is a better average of wind in Brasilia, because Brasilia is known for a place of light winds. Since we are talking about a highland of almost 1,000 meter high, and in a quite desertic climate, meaning that when it's very hot, you don't have good winds. But in July, it's our winter here, and then the weather conditions are better in terms of having good sailing conditions, and that's exactly why the Brasilia fleet chose July as the month to organize this championship. Last year, the South American Championship took place in Brasilia in June, I think, but there wasn't good wind at all. We had difficulties to make all the regattas, but Brazil is always a very nice place. The club, it's extraordinary. The infrastructure, people are very friendly. And even if the sailing conditions sometimes are not that good, the reception and the friendship of everybody pays off. But let's try to make this championship this time in July to have stronger winds. What I mean, 15 knots, 16 knots. It's not a place of strong winds at all, but in very good conditions, and the water is very clean, and the landscape is also very beautiful. It's a nice place to sail. Let's see. Let's hope that we all have a good championship in July 2024. I think that the only place where we have a very good infrastructure in terms of airports, hotels, and logistics is really Rio de Janeiro, the Guanabara Bay, the location of the 2016 Olympics, which is a very challenging race course. The FIN World 2004 was there. And this is something we can discuss further on to organize that. And there is one point of the calendar, because the best time of the year to sail in Rio may not be the exact time of the European calendar. So we should also make something as it was with Miami or other championships, that the boats can come during winter here to Brazil. We sail here in February, March, something like that, and there is enough time for the return of the boats. The same thing that will happen with Brisbane, right? We must have some flexibility in those terms. There's nothing in the pipeline about it, but due to your request, let's start thinking about if the class intends to do that. Let's try to organize. Logistic costs to Brazil are not low. That's one of the bottlenecks we have, and we know that experience from other classes like the Star class and other boats that intend to make championships in Brazil. But if Rio, okay, it's the best location in terms of logistics, but we have Ilhabela not far away, and we have Búzios also not far away, which are really paradises for sailing, and we can try to organize. There will be a lot of work, but as said, now we have an organized class of different members participating and contributing with their efforts, with their time. So maybe it's a project to be on the back of our heads, and who knows, in the next assembly, General Assembly, we may raise this flag and try to bring another championship to Brazil. I would say to young sailors that once getting to the fin class, you can sail for a very long time, right? So the fin has lots of resources in terms of regulations, and you can always enjoy. We have a big rudder. This makes a difference, especially the guys that are coming from laser. Before fin, I used to sail lasers also, and I would say if you get in, it will be hard for you to get out, and it's a very comfortable boat in terms of sailing, etc. And for the masters that want to join us, I will tell, don't be afraid of, oh no, but I'm not that big, I'm not that strong. Once again, the fin boat has lots of resources. Be prepared to have incredible sailing above 15 knots, but very pleasant sailing also with 8 to 12 knots. And if it gets a little bit wilder above 20, don't worry, you have resources, and all the championships you will always have support, salvation support and things like that, because bad things may happen. And if you decide not to sail when the wind is much too strong, no problem. There will always be cold beer at the beach, on shore, for you to have fun and good friends, and always a very good atmosphere among fin sailors all over the world. In Brazil, all the fleets, and my experience also in Europe has always been wonderful.